Hello and welcome. I'm Leanne, and today I wanted to take a look at the mass market edition of the Curious Travels Tarot created by Amelia Rosier. I also wanted to compare the mass market to the indie deck. As far as I can tell, the artwork hasn't changed at all, but there are a couple noticeable differences. And just so you know, at the time of this video post, the indie version is still available on the creator's website. So I will leave purchase links below for both editions. So with that, let's take a look at what's different. So the first obvious difference is the packaging. The indie deck fits neatly inside a sturdy two-piece box. The design is pretty simple and straightforward, with elegant lettering and minimal information about the deck on the back, along with social media information for the artist. The box fits very snug, so it takes a second to get it open. And mine did not come with a book. However, you can find information about the cards on the creator's website. The box for the mass market deck also comes in a very nice sturdy box. It's clearly larger with beautiful images of the cards on the front and on the sides, and also on the back. It also has more of an embellished description on the back. The mass market box is also a little easier to open than the indie deck, and the mass market comes with a book. The cards fit inside a built-in compartment with no tuck box. I cannot remember if the cards were in shrink wrap or not. I would be surprised if US Games didn't shrink wrap it. Sorry about that, I just can't remember. Okay, let's look at the book. So the guidebook has a colorful matte cover with a satin feel. It actually feels nice. The paper is good quality. It's thick and it feels really nice to the touch. It feels kind of satiny. We've got the title page. We have a table of contents, and we also have this small but lovely introduction to the cards. The guide part includes select images from each of the cards. So I really like that, because to me, instead of putting the entire card on here, this actually saves space, and I think it's really cute. Each section has information about the artwork for that particular card, which I really like, because so often artists do not include the information about the actual artwork. And so I'm really glad that they did this. You also have upright and reversed meanings. And what I also like is that it's this way throughout the book. And what I mean is that it's not just the major arcana that they did this with. They also did it with the minor arcana. And that's something that, you know, sometimes what you'll see is they'll, you know, give you a page and a half or a page about the major arcana, and then you get this little tiny little paragraph about the minor arcana. But it is the same. The minor arcana information is the same as the major. So you have the select image, you have the information about the artwork, the upright and the reverse meanings. So I do like that. And then let's see, in the back, you've got information about the bonus card. You have the Curious Traveler spread, and I think this is just the only spread that's in the book. And this imagery is just too cute. You have about the creator, and then you have a few note pages, which I will probably never use, as well as information about US Games website. So all in all, I feel like this is a nice little book. Okay, as far as cardstock and size, the indie deck has 350 GSM cardstock with a rose petal finish. It's a nice cardstock and it feels really nice, but like most decks with a rose petal finish, it doesn't always slide very well. The cardstock for the mass market deck is thinner and has a satin linen finish. And I'm really curious to see if this gives the mass market a better shuffling experience than the indie deck. The only thing is that the mass market cards are longer and wider than the indie deck. And the indie deck is standard size, which I sort of wish that US Games would have gone that route. Okay, so let's look at the design. Okay, so starting with the backs, the design looks exactly the same. The backs of the mass market deck seem a little more saturated and a little more blue-green, where the indie decks may seem a little bit more muted and more gray, but no major differences. Both decks have an extra card called the Travelers, which I never use. I rarely use extra cards, so no changes there. Okay, the other noticeable difference are the borders. The borders of the mass market deck are about twice as wide as the indie deck. But looking at it, it looks like the artwork is exactly the same size, which you'd think if they went with a larger card size that they would enlarge the image or just go with the standard size. It's not a big deal. I just find it curious. As far as the font, it looks like it's exactly the same. However, I noticed that the titles of the major arcana are numbered in the mass market, where in the indie deck they are not, which I actually prefer. It just solves the whole, the whole like strength, justice at 8 or 11 dilemma. Not a big deal, but I just, I think it's nice when people get to choose which position they want to put those cards. Another noticeable difference is the gold detailing or the gold accents. On the indie deck, the gold accents look painted in or on the artwork, possibly before it was scanned and printed. I'm not really sure what her process was. But the mass market deck, the gold details are stamped on, and you can feel the difference. It's like indented a little bit. You can you can feel that it was stamped on. Also, the mass market gold foil looks brighter to me. The indie deck, the gold looks a little bit more dull, which I don't mind at all. And the mass market deck, the gold looks a little bit more striking, in my opinion. I'm curious to see if there are any significant saturation differences. I'm not going to agonize over all the minor differences. I just want to see if there are any noticeable differences throughout the deck. Okay, so let's look at these cards side by side. I may not comment on everything. Again, I don't want to like scrutinize the mass market deck or the indie deck. I just kind of want to see if there are any differences. I don't know if this is showing up on camera, but I can see that in the indie deck, this disc right here is a little bit redder. I mean, it's very slight, but it seems like the background of the magician is a little bit darker. I love that you can see the watercolor paper. You can see the texture of it. I love that. I mean, so far the colors are pretty darn close. I mean, I can't even tell a difference. The background looks darker in the strength card. You can see where the gold really pops in comparison to the indie deck. I love the red in this deck. The moon, I like that the moon is a little bit brighter in the mass market. It seems like some of the titles are darker in the indie deck. Not a big deal, I'm just pointing it out. I love, love, love the Four of Wands. Okay, so here, with the indie deck, as far as the, gold accents go, you can see the definition of the wands. Like you can see it right here, and you can see it through here. But on the mass market deck, you don't really see the line work. This wand just sort of flows into this wand without any definition. It's not a big deal. I'm just pointing it out, but it is interesting. This one looks darker. And that's not a good or bad thing. It's just something that I'm noticing. With this one, though, they did a really good job with the intricate gold accents. You can really see the gold foil in that one. I can't believe how close the saturation is to the indie deck. I mean, that's pretty amazing. Whoa. Okay, so that's different. The Three of Swords in the indie deck is clearly green, and the Three of Swords of the mass market deck is clearly blue. So, wow, okay. That's, I mean, right after I just said how everything was the same. I'm not sure which one I like better. I might like this one better. I don't know. I like them both. Interesting that they did that though, right? I don't know. Wasn't expecting that. I'm starting to struggle with the rose petal finish. Wow. Okay, so the gold foil really looks striking against the dark background of the Eight of Swords. That's beautiful. I mean, I like them both, but that's pretty stunning. This is my favorite, one of my favorite Knight of Swords. I just love this. I think the red is really is popping on this one, but also it seems like a lot of the detail is more defined. Okay. I was checking to see if the image was blown up. Uh-oh. I love her use of color. I love this red. Okay, so let's see how they compare when shuffled, starting with the indie deck. So obviously I have shuffled this deck a lot, so I know what to expect. But I think it'll be fun to shuffle the other one right after. Ripple shuffle's nice. It even bridges nice. Maybe not as fast as other decks, but the problem is when you push it together, there's resistance and the cards stick together. And this is not a deal breaker for me. I absolutely love this deck. Whoops, that was my fault. But see, pushing it through, usually cards just slide together, but you can feel where the rose petal finish is just like resistant. So as far as overhand, I mean, it's not as fast or it doesn't slide as well as maybe other decks that don't have the rose petal finish, but I still love it and I use it a lot. Now let's shuffle the mass market edition and see how it compares. Yeah, I can tell that it's tricky getting my hands around the mass market edition. Whoa, it is slippery, slides into place. Let's do that one more time. Yeah, it's shuffles pretty nice. Slides pretty easily, much different. I don't know. I think that in time, even though it's slippery, I think that over time it'll start to wear in and it will give me more control over it. And the size isn't a deal breaker. I have decks that are much bigger than this and it doesn't keep me from working with them. Okay, so my final thoughts on the mass market edition. I think US Games did a really good job. The presentation is beautiful, and I do appreciate that it came with a book. The deck is larger than my preference, but it is manageable, and I do like the linen finish. All in all, I think they did the cards justice. In the end, I think it's just about personal preference. I may be somewhat partial to the indie deck at the moment, but that's probably more emotional than anything else. I'm attached to the one I've been working with. I may feel differently once I start really working with the mass market edition, though. We shall see. But for now, I think that covers it for the Curious Travels Tarot. So what do you think? Do you like the changes that US Games made? Do you prefer the linen to the rose petal finish? And do you think that the gold foil accents are an improvement? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And thanks so much for joining me today. Take care. Bye.